The opinions and views expressed by individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of this network, their group, or other organization they may be involved with.
I'm looking at myself, reflections of my mind. It's just the kind of day to leave myself behind. So gently swaying through the fairyland of love. If you'll just come with me, you'll see the beauty of Tuesday evening news. Tuesday evening
Okay, oh, yeah, that was a good day. Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to Psychedelic Reporters for this Tuesday, the 20th, here on NLK Network, the video news podcast focused on psychedelic medicine being reported in mainstream media. Shout out to the guys in Dead Ringer from Kirkland Lake, Ontario for the awesome intro track. Originally recorded by the Moody Blues with some customized changes for our show. I am joined by my amazing hosts, Tara Simpson, along with the one and only Bufo Alvarius, who has chosen all of our stories for us. Hello, Tara.
Well, hello, hobbies, and hello, everyone. I'd like to take a minute to introduce Bufo. He's our Sonoran desert toad or Colorado mud toad. Did you know he emits DMT from his skin? And while that sounds like great fun, park rangers would like to remind everyone, please don't lick the toads.
Don't lick the toads. Nope, you don't know where they've been.
No, you don't know how much DMT they're going to give you. I mean, it could just go all wrong. So, sustainable harvesting.
Right. Speaking of that, see, that's almost the same. Okay, so last year we went out and hung out with our buddy, and we went to California, and the lady gave him a little tiny mushroom, but it had so much mycelium in it that he was able to trip on it for like a while. And it was interesting because that's what I want, a little tiny 1/4 gram, and it's as strong as like an ounce of mushroom. And then you just take little pieces off of it and then like enjoy your day.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's very similar to all magical fungi. You know, every batch is going to test different. So you're going to get batches that are super potent. And, you know, if you're used to taking 1 gram of your other batch and now you take 1 gram of this, it's like taking 2 grams. Things can go a little wonky. So you kind of have to know and test your batches before you go deep diving. It's definitely, there's such a variance, just like with cannabis, right? You'll get high dose cannabis from one plant, and then somebody else grows the exact same clone, and you'll get something that tests different. So definitely make sure you know what you're consuming before you consume it, and do so in a safe environment.
So speaking about safe environments, that brings us to our first article in weeklyvoice.com, and it states, Neuroglow expands across North Texas, with launch of Fort Worth flagship clinic for psychedelic assisted care. And this was by Voice.
Yeah. So, NeuroGlow launches its Fort Worth flagship clinic, expanding access to IV ketamine therapy and Spravato for treatment-resistant depression. And Fort Worth, Texas. So they're doing some neat stuff down here. NeuroGlow, a provider of medically supervised psychedelic assisted therapy, announced its continued expansion across North Texas with the opening of its flagship Fort Worth clinic, reinforcing its mission to elevate access to mental health care through a rigorous medical model. With established clinics in McKinney and Flower Mound, NeuroGlow is scaling its footprint to meet rising demand for clinically supported treatment options for depression, PTSD, anxiety, and related conditions. The company integrates medical oversight, structured protocol, and coordinated care to support patients who have not found relief through traditional treatment pathways. NeuroGlow's Fort Worth flagship clinic, located at 3100 and Tarrant Parkway, Suite 104, Fort Worth, Texas, directly across from Medical City Alliance, represents the company's largest location to date. Designed to serve both as a clinical destination and an operational hub, the facility supports NeuroGlow's long-term strategy to responsibly scale psychedelic assisted care through the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Too many people continue to struggle despite doing everything they were told to do, said Reese Ormond, co-founder and CEO of NeuroGlow. Our goal is to expand access to psychedelic assisted therapies in a way that is medically grounded, outcomes focused, and built for long-term healing. The launch of our Fort Worth flagship marks its important step in that mission. Wow.
Yeah, so NeuroGlow provides 4 ketamine and Spravato esketamine nasal spray, and FDA approved treatment for treatment-resistant depression. Spravato services are covered by many major insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid. For eligible patients, NeuroGlow's care coordination team supports insurance verification and prior authorization to reduce administrative burden and improve access to care. The company also maintains a strong commitment to veterans and first responders, populations and disproportionately affected by depression, PTSD, and suicidality. NeuroGlow works closely with these communities to expand access to medically supervised treatment options that support durable recovery. Leadership in the space requires more than opening clinics. Ortman added, it requires clinical discipline, operational excellence, and a commitment to doing this work the right way. That's the standard we're building toward as we scale across North Texas. As demand for new mental health solutions accelerates, NeuroGlow plans additional expansion across the DFW region to broaden access as a part of its long-term strategy to build a leading psychedelics assisted therapy network in Texas. And then about NeuroGlow, founded in North Texas, NeuroGlow, a medical clinic network specialized in psychedelic assisted therapy, including for ketamine, Spravato treatment. NeuroGlow combines medical oversight, structured protocols, integrated therapy, and coordinated support to help patients achieve meaningful improvements in mental health and cognitive performance. Whew, that was a mouthful. Learn more at neuroglow.com.
That's so cool that they're working on ketamine therapy. I'd like to see, some other psychedelics thrown into the mix there, but it's a start. I mean, it's something, and they're trying to lead the way with psychedelic therapy. So very cool.
So interesting enough, they're building a what can I say, a healthy relationship with licensed workers, politicians, healthcare workers, doctors, hospitals, in these psychedelic treatments. So as they're building up this reputation now, because they said psychedelic therapies, they didn't just say ketamine or this. So that opens the door, like, hey, look, buddy, we are already proving ourselves with this one. Insurance is paying for it. Like, let's get this patented, and then the FDA, and then now let's
absolutely
get this paid for. So I mean, there's
baby steps. Baby steps, right? They got one in the door. Once they prove the safety and, they can do protocols, then maybe they can, be like, hey, let's try some mushroom therapy. Let's try, a little bit of LSD therapy with this patient. And by building those reputations and their own reputation, hopefully then they'll get approval to have some of these other psychedelic treatments.
With the board, FDA board. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So very good on Texas. I like that they're leading the way in treatment facility.
So interesting enough, that brings us to our next article with the KIMT.com news. Iowa bill proposes psilocybin regulation for PTSD therapy. And this is Natalie Reitinger. And this is a great article too.
Yeah, so lawmakers have introduced a new bill focused on the production and distribution of psilocybin, a psychedelic compound used in some PTSD treatment. The proposed legislation aims to create a psilocybin production establishment licensing board to oversee the drug's use in therapeutic procedures. Last June, Governor Kim Reynolds vetoed a bill that would have permitted the prescription and distribution of psilocybin immediately following FDA approval. On April 21st, a similar bill passed in the House, but was not addressed in the Senate. Of course.
I was too busy. Okay. That was it. That was it. So we're gonna play this video. Yeah, we're gonna play this video. Thank you, Kim, for helping us produce this show. Here we go.
Lawmakers at the State House have introduced a new bill on the production and distribution of psilocybin, a psychedelic compound that some use as a form of PTSD treatment. The bill would establish a psilocybin production establishment licensing board to regulate the drug's use and therapeutic procedures. In June of last year, Governor Kim Reynolds vetoed a bill that would have allowed the prescription and distribution of the drug immediately after FDA approval. And on April 21st, a similar bill that would have established the licensing board passed in the House, but was not brought up in the Senate.
Again, just short and sweet, but it looks like they're working on it down there.
Well, again, we're going to see this in the next 2 years. A lot of states are going to change programs, work on programs. FDA DA has already increased their production levels. So
Wow.
it's going to be an interesting year of psychedelics. Some
Yeah,
studies
it's
started
coming.
at the end of the year. So now, we have a few months to see how those go.
Absolutely. You probably 7 years ago, people looked at me like I was crazy when I said, mark my words, but you're going to see mushrooms and psychedelics as therapy at some point. Like there's medicinal properties to these, and everyone laughed at me. They all thought I was just some hippie chick who didn't know what the hell she was talking about. And look what's happening now. All of these places are now starting to look at psychedelics as treatment for mental health, for a variety of other conditions like alcohol use disorder, autism. I mean, we've reported on that where they're looking at, LSD for autism. So there's a lot of things that are happening, and I saw it coming after I had my big first experience as an adult taking mass doses of mushrooms. Don't ask me how much I took because I didn't weigh it. I just took some out of the bag, ate that, drank some tea. We were at a retreat. So I'm telling you, that was life altering, most incredible journey of my life. And it changed the way I looked at psychedelics. They weren't just let's get high on a Friday night and watch some movies, right? They actually did something that day, and things changed in my world. And I mean, I still use mushrooms as, migraine prevention, as mood enhancement, as a help for my overall wellness. And if it can do that in a microdose, and keep things running smooth around here, I can just imagine the things it can do for other people too. And other psychedelics, depending on the need for their own healing journeys and medical treatment. So things are happening. It's not happening fast enough, damn it.
I get it. I hear you. Speaking of medication, we have a shorter show today, so this is about the halfway point. So it's medication time.
That's right, folks. It's time to pay some bills. So stay tuned for a word from some of our amazing sponsors, and then we'll return with more articles Bufo has chosen making mainstream media news.
Back in 4 minutes and 20 seconds here on Psychedelic Reporters on NOK Network.
Dirty Dave, award-winning cultivator for over 4 decades. Dirty Dave, prized genetics fueled by advanced nutrients, original OG organics. Dirty Dave, award-winning products available at these fine establishments. Ask your shop to carry Dirty Dave. Contact us at dirtiesdoggies@gmail.com.
Join us for NOK Network monthly specials, 12 months a year, movie nights, spotlights on entertainment, and live on location coverage. Stay up to date about upcoming programming by subscribing to NOK Network on Rumble, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Facebook. Check out our webpage at www.noknetwork.com.
Hi, my name is John Mark, aka Sublimator Warrior, and I would like to welcome you to Smoke Signal in Tyndinaga.
One dab make your whole dome drip sweat. One dab make the homies all dip set.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga.
Ooey, ooey, gooey, that's a sticky dab. Sticky dab. Might just have to put this one on Instagram.
Smoke Signals,
Go
Tyndinaga.
and hold it in, feel it in your wrist.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga.
Check us out in Tyndinaga. 55 Highway 49 in Tyndinaga. It's on the res, and we're open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week.
Hey, dudes and dudettes. Enjoy the show, man.
And we're back from our medication session, live here on Psychedelic Reporters on NOK Network.
Oh, man. Oh, we have another set of stories in the realm of psychedelic medicine. So let's get at it. The next article is from UCLA Newsroom.edu. And Q&A Understanding UCLA's Ecological Medicine and Psychedelic Studies Initiative project Reconnect explores how our connection to natural and animals helps our well-being and how we can help theirs. This is from the UCLA Newsroom.
Yeah, the UCLA Ecological Medicine and Psychedelic Study Initiative, part of the Jane and Terry Semel Institute for Neuroscience and Health and Human Behavior, is investigating scientifically validated treatments for mental health. Project Reconnect will link the care and health of the natural world to the improved well-being of individuals and communities. A monthly affinity group offers lectures and other activities such as forest bathing, rooted in Japanese practice of Shinrin Yoku, immersing oneself in a natural environment using all five senses. Newsroom spoke with initiative co-founder and director Dr. Helena Hansen, the interim chair of psychiatry and interim director of Semel Institute, and executive director and co-founder of Landon Pollock, to learn more about how the initiative's progress goals and how people can reconnect to the natural world and all its inhabitants. This interview has been edited for length and clarity. So how was the initiative born? Landon Pollock, before my time or Helena's time, there was the Psychedelic Science Initiative led by Dr. Charles Grobe, an authority and long-term researcher and advocate of the psychedelic movement. The psychedelic movement is indebted to people like Dr. Grobe and his steadfast commitment, and Dr. Tom Strauss for psychedelics at UCLA, who is a psychiatrist and palliative care physician. I was introduced to Dr. Grobe by a mentee of his, Dr. Brian Anderson. As an advisor to PSI, I introduced some work that I had already been doing and what I was calling ecological medicine. Dr. Helena Henson, Landon floated the idea that the intersection of psychedelic studies and ecological medicine could differentiate UCLA from the other psychedelic programs. We noted an indigenous and traditional use of psychedelics. It's strengthened a sense of connectiveness with nature, plants, and animals. Landon encouraged us to use the study and setting of psychedelic treatment. The way that the mindset of the recipient and their setting, especially natural settings and green spaces, impacted treatment outcome. From there, we got increasingly interested in the mental and physical health benefits of connection with nature and other species in its own rights, and began looking at practices that fostered his connectiveness independently of psychedelics. These practices included forest bathing and guided nature interaction, community gardening, equine therapy, biophilic urban design, in-clinic animal behavior, etc. Wow, that's kind of neat, eh?
It is. It is. So, is there an example of how this initiative will be working in some of the area's natural places? Pollock said, I think our forest bathing event is a wonderful example of that. It's entirely possible for people to connect with natural spaces in urban environments like Westwood, the Millard E. Matthias Botanical Gardens, the community garden we were developing on the Semmel Building street level deck, and in the future, a possible ecological medicine lab is on the rooftop of the Semmel Building. All serve as good examples of what can be done. Second is our partnership with a wonderful group founded by Dr. Sheridan Ross and Dr. Cynthia Davis. In Compton, they've stood dozens of successful community gardens in Compton and similar areas, taking neighborhoods that have the least canopy cover of any U.S. city and turning abandoned lots into green spaces. We have a small grant in collaboration with them in conducting comparative research across UCLA and their garden in Compton. So who do you think would benefit from this program, they wrote. And then Hansen said, there are many ways people can experience connection with nature before the co-founded project Reconnect. Landon had worked on various projects, such as placing bird feeders, exterior windows in rooms of palliative care patients. So even those who are not mobile, for those who bring nature to them, it's all possible to create green spaces in urban built environments, including clinics and hospitals. Pollock said, the wonderful thing about ecological medicine, whether it's human, animal, interaction, or nature contact, and contemplative practice, is that practices have the potential to be very helpful, and when conducted properly have a very low risk profile. Ecological medicine at its best asks the questions of not just who ecological medicine can help, but can those being helped others? Those being helped help others. And others range from people to animals to nature itself. A key tenet of ecological medicine is reciprocatory and how it can be better planetary stewards, whether it's people dealing with set of mental health challenge to those who are looking to improve fitness level mobility, cardiovascular training. I think it's a list. It's endless of people who can benefit. Wow, this is actually a good read.
Yeah. And we know like set and setting is so important with everything you do. I mean, you need to set intention when you're using medicine. You need to be in the right environment when you're using medicine, and nature is like the perfect environment for psychedelics. Obviously in a controlled setting. I mean, don't go taking it and go to the zoo and, might not be a good experience, but being out in nature where things are calm, near the water, listening to the trees, listening to the sounds, smelling the scents of the forest, all of those things we know just on a regular basis without psychedelics are good for us. So I'm sure with the psychedelics that really helps to enhance the experience and make it pleasant. Just a really cool article. How is your timing progressing? Pollock, there are a variety of ideas coming to fruition. Our initiative has 4 working groups. One is focused on developing an ecological medicine society of scholars and practitioners with a public-facing advocacy arm. This sister organization is the Ecological Medicine Society. The second group is focused on research, the third on developing best clinical practices, and the fourth is on curriculum and education. Our 8-week Introduction to Ecological Medicine course completed this past summer and will be reintroduced in spring quarter. We're exploring a certification program that in the long term could see ecological medicine evolve as a clinical specialty in healthcare. Our research working group is identifying possible landmark studies to help establish the field of ecological medicine. What should people understand about the role of psychedelic studies as part of the initiative as a whole? Pollock wrote, there's great work happening at UCLA and some wonderful researchers across UCLA Westwood, UCLA Harbor Medical Center, and other locations are doing more traditional biomedical approach to psychedelics around PTSD and trauma, depression, addiction, etc. We have included tribal and indigenous colleagues to advise us on their own traditional ecological knowledge and practice, as well as set and setting, which are the areas our initiative is more focused on. We're looking to bring ecological medicine to others at UCLA who are doing psychedelic trials to help enhance the setting portion of their work. And I'll just finish this last paragraph here. What makes UCLA a good home for this initiative? Pollock wrote, well, a key element is having someone with Helena's background and credentials as a champion for this initiative. She introduces novel ideas, brings a set of uncompromising patient-centered values and approaches, medicine very holistically from a very strong relational base, and being an epicenter like LA, where it is cutting edge and UCLA's work serves as a wonderful platform for these types of ideas, programs, and modalities, both in ecological medicine realm as well as the psychedelic space, especially with the long-standing work of Charlie Grob. Hansen wrote, the array of fields that are present in the initiative is wide, from the School of Law and Social Sciences to data science, music, and evolutionary biology. It is the culture of this type of transdisciplinary collaboration that makes UCLA the top-ranking public university in the country for graduate school, and the initiative has benefited from that ethos. UCLA also has a strong public mission, and with which the Ecological Medicine Initiative is aligned in its focus on community-driven environmental restoration and health promotion for all communities. That's really cool. Because again, speaking from experience, I mean, I did high doses of mushrooms in the middle of the Muskokas while at a psychedelic expansion fest retreat for the first time as an adult. And I couldn't have picked a more beautiful setting to have that experience in. Not that
According to a 2024,
but it definitely enhanced that experience, and it was magical. I can't even describe it any better than that. It was magical.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I bet you that's a great time. I like that article. That was a cool article. That's a cool thing in the like busy cities can be. Our last article comes from SpectrumNews1.com, and that states that unique Ohio treatment training equips professionals with tools to respond to people experiencing a psychedelic crisis. And this is by Corey O'Leary in Columbus. And man,
Yeah.
so awesome.
It's overwhelming to interact with someone who's having an intense psychedelic experience. That's why a program has been introduced for first responders and behavioral professionals to better handle the situation. If you've ever encountered someone who's high as balls on mushrooms and then tried to have a conversation with them while you're sober, don't bother. It might go all bad. We really wanted to be a leader in the country in providing training so that if someone comes to them in distress from having a psychedelic experience, that they have some basic skills and knowledge about what they can do to support that person, said Dr. Alan Davis, the director of Ohio State University's Center for Psychedelic Drug Research and Education. Using a $400,000 grant from the Ohio Department of Behavioral Health, the CPDRE has created the Psychedelic Emergency Acute and Continuing Care Education Program, also known as PEACE. They have designed the free training to give to behavior health experts, law enforcement, and medical first responders. Part of this is to destigmatize the reason why people might seek out psychedelics. And then we also want to ensure that they have that understanding the effects that people might be experiencing, Davis explained. The program involves an outline module that made available for those who sign up followed by an in-person training. On January 12th of 2026, the CPDRE held the first in-person PEACE program training at OSU, focused on training behavioral health therapists. That's really cool.
It is. And as a part of the training, 3 subject experts gave presentations on how best to respond to someone experiencing a psychedelic crisis. The experts showed both good and bad ways of doing things. Offering a kind, calm presence can really go a long way and help connect people, said Marie Rose, a licensed professional counselor, after she completed the in-person training. Why do you think it's important for therapists to learn about psychedelics and how they affect people? Asked Spectrum News. And simply enough, people use them. We need to know what is going through their minds and how to help stabilize them and make sure it's a positive experience. And Rose responded. Increasing amounts of research shows the use of psychedelic drugs can provide therapeutic benefits to help people. As people hear about these benefits, they are increasingly using them outside of professional and controlled environments. From what we see, there's an increase of numbers showing up to the emergency departments, Davis said. Didn't we just read an article that stated the opposite?
Yeah.
Okay, so part of the mission of CPDRE is to research the therapeutic benefits of psychedelics, but Davis said taking them outside of a professional medical setting increases the risk of having an unpleasant experience. When do psychedelic therapy is controlled setting, we spend lots of time to getting know person before we give them the psychedelic. With the increasing popularity of hallucinogens, Davis says programs like PEACE are necessary, and he hopes to see similar training expand across the U.S. This is quite an initiative for the U.S. right now, though no other state, to our knowledge, is producing this type of training. This really came from because the deep interest on the part of Governor DeWine and the Ohio Department of Behavioral Health to best understand how Ohio can lead the way topic of psychedelic harm reduction in acute care training. The CPDRE has scheduled 2 more peace trainings in 2026, one tailored toward law enforcement and one tailored to medical first responders. These trainings are to be recorded and made available online. Huh.
Very cool. I think it's needed in law enforcement, definitely, because they're going to encounter people who have taken way too much of something, who are acting erratically or maybe freaking out because they're scared because they're having a moment. And in a lot of cases, law enforcement does not approach any of those types of mental health situations in a productive manner. When someone's having a crisis and you're a law enforcement, you need to bring the law enforcement aspect of yourself down to their level to figure out what's going on with them rather than just confronting them, which they're trained to do, right? If someone's acting erratically, they're trained to try and take that and, like put them in cuffs and calm them down. But that's not always going to work for someone who's maybe flying high on some mushrooms or has taken some MDMA and is having a moment, who knows, right? So having those skill sets in our first responders and law enforcement is crucial, so that people don't get hurt, because people can get hurt in these situations if they're not with it, right? If they're way out here and the cops like, you need to stop now, and they're like, not happening, something bad's going to happen to somebody. So I'm glad that they're bringing that awareness and training to those first responders and medical first responders. That's imperative. We need that. We've needed that for a long time, actually.
Getting treated differently than other drugs, hopefully. And it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. I didn't watch the training or how, but you can. They state that they're going to show it online.
That's really cool. Maybe we can try and find some follow-up stuff with that for another show, because that'd be really cool to show people what they're training these people with, so that people can have some peace of mind that if they have a bad trip and someone calls the cops on them, they're not going to get taken down and arrested and thrown in a psych ward or something. Like things have been known to happen to people who are traveling.
Be used in a way that in a crisis reduction atmosphere way.
Absolutely. And they don't need to be taken to a psych ward necessarily. They don't need to even be taken to the hospital. They might just need someone to talk to for 5 or 10 minutes till they're calm again and have their vitals checked and be sent on their way, right? Sometimes that's all that's needed with someone who's having a bit of a trip that's not going well for them. They just need somebody. They don't need to be arrested or taken to the hospital, where now they're going to just be even more upset, right? So good on them for developing a training course. I'd like to see that happen worldwide as this psychedelic movement continues.
Yeah, I agree. So, hey, thank you for joining us here on Psychedelic Reporters on NOK Network. and for tuning in to our video podcast on NOK Network's Rumble and YouTube pages, as well as our social media sites.
That's right, folks. We hope you've enjoyed your update today of mainstream media coverage of psychedelic news advancements from around the globe.
Many thanks to our sponsors and to my joint host, Tara Simpson, and to Bufo Various for choosing the stories, and to you, our listeners, for joining each week on Psychedelic Tuesday. Oh, and Kim Cooper for being in the back, smoking dabs, laughing her ass off. And let's hear from Dead Ringer, again from Kirkland Lake, on our way out.
Looking at myself, reflections of my mind. It's just the kind of day to leave myself behind. So gently swaying through the fairyland of love. If you'll just come with me, you'll see the beauty of